So we have seen the minimum starting speed required for a centrifugal pump, okay, to commence the flow of water. Now let us see the next part, that is the cavitation in centrifugal pump. Cavitation is the most important part of a centrifugal pump, because if cavitation phenomenon occurs, then there is a what you can say, there may be a damage to the centrifugal pump. So already we have seen cavitation in fluid mechanics also. If you remember, or if you recall the definition of cavitation, if at a certain point the pressure, okay, at that point inside the pipe falls below the vapor pressure of water or that fluid flowing through the pipe, then the formation of vapor bubbles takes place, okay, inside the pipe at that position. And this formation of vapor bubbles, when these bubbles are carried to a high pressure region, okay, where the pressure is high, they collapse there on the metallic surface. And when they collapse to the metallic surface, there is a pitting, or the, you can say, damage of the surface happens, and that phenomenon is called as a cavitation. So cavitation is defined as a phenomenon of formation of vapor bubbles of a flowing liquid in a region where the pressure of the liquid falls below the vapor pressure, and sudden collapsing of these vapor bubbles in a region of higher pressure. So the major condition for cavitation to occur is that the pressure at that certain point should fall below the vapor pressure. Okay, if the pressure is falling below the vapor pressure, then the cavitation will occur. Now we have to take care that cavitation is not desirable phenomena. To avoid cavitation, you have to take care that the pressure at that certain point should be above vapor pressure of that liquid. So it is our aim that the pressure should be above vapor pressure, because cavitation is not a desirable phenomenon. So what precautions we have to take against cavitation? We have to take these two precautions. First one, the pressure of the flowing liquid in any part of the hydraulic system should not be allowed to fall below its vapor pressure. Just I have said you. Now what is the vapor pressure value? So you have to check that if the flowing water is liquid, that is water is flowing as a liquid, then the absolute pressure, okay, absolute pressure, not gauge pressure. We know the pressure is vacuum, negative pressure is there, okay, at suction side, and the vapor pressure is below the, you can say, vacuum pressure, okay, below the vacuum pressure. So it is actually negative pressure only, but it is so below, even below that of the negative pressure, then the cavitation phenomenon occurs. So how much below? So the absolute pressure should not be below 2.5 meter of water. So below 2.5 meter of water, this is absolute pressure. So this is absolute pressure, means it is coming as positive value. But if you take it as in terms of vacuum or negative pressure, then its value will be, if you subtract this 2.5 meter of water from 10.3, then you will get it as a 7.8 meter of water. So minus 7.8 meter of water, that is the vacuum pressure. It should not fall below minus 7.8 meter of water, okay, actually. So if it is coming as minus 7.9, okay, or minus 8 meter of water, then there will be formation of vapor bubbles, or there will be cavitation phenomenon. Okay, so you have to take care that the pressure should be always above minus 7.8. So it may be minus 7.3, minus 7.2, or minus 6 meters of water in case of negative value, or it should be below 2.5 meter of water. So maximum value is 2.5 meter absolute. Okay, so it may be 2.3, 2.2 like this. And the second precaution is the material, okay, because it will cause the rusting of the material. So you should use the material of higher quality. So many times the pumps are coated with special materials like aluminum, bronze, and stainless steel, which are cavitation resistant materials, and these materials should be used to avoid cavitation. So what are the effects of cavitation? As we have already discussed, the metallic surfaces are damaged and cavities are formed on the surfaces. Due to sudden collapse of vapor bubbles, considerable noise and vibrations are produced. Okay, so there is a vibration, okay, noise. Then also, because of this damage to the surface, the efficiency of the turbine decreases, because due to the pitting action, the surface of the turbine blade becomes rough, okay, and the turbine is not resistant. So whatever the force exerted by the water on the turbine, or the force exerted by the impeller on the water, that impeller blade force is less on the water. That's why the force transfer phenomenon is less. The force exerted in case of turbine by the water is less, and in case of pump by the impeller on the water is less. Hence the work done by the water or output horsepower becomes less, and thus efficiency decreases. So that is the effects of cavitation. Now there is one important point here, that is called as the maximum suction lift or suction height. Okay, we have seen that if you see in this diagram, okay, if you remember this diagram, in this diagram this is the HS. In this diagram, this is height, okay, of the impeller. Okay, the pump is installed at some height from the sump, or you can say suction tank, and this height is called as a suction height. Okay, or this is called as a suction lift. Now what should be this suction lift? Okay, maximum suction lift means what? As you know that as you go up from the ground level, the pressure goes on decreasing. So at this level the pressure is already becoming less. We have seen that there is vacuum at the inlet to the pump, suction side. Okay, so when there is vacuum, then there is a chances of cavitation phenomenon. So we have to take care that this pressure should not fall below vapor pressure at this point. So if you go on increasing this height, suction height, above, okay, above and above, then the pressure will go on decreasing. So there is some limit that you can keep your pump at certain height from the ground level. So what is that limit? That is called as a maximum suction lift. So maximum suction lift is nothing but the maximum height up to which you can install your pump. Okay, so let us see the maximum suction lift. If you see in this diagram, okay, the same diagram, okay, this is the impeller inlet and this is the sump, and this is the HS, which is suction lift. Okay, now we have to find what is the maximum HS, that is called as the maximum suction lift. Okay, the expression for that already we have seen that in the initial lecture only, that is first lecture only. What is the HS, how it is calculated? You have to apply Bernoulli's equation at point C and at point A. If you remember, there was point C and A. In between these 2 points, if you apply the Bernoulli's equation, then here there will be some datum height HS, and that height can be calculated. So if you remember Bernoulli's equation, applying between this point and this point, so let us apply. It is at this point there is a free surface of liquid which is open to atmosphere. So it is PA by rho g plus VA square by 2g plus ZA is equal to P1 by rho g, that is the pressure at this point, let us say at point C, P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g, that is the velocity through this pipe, plus Z1, that is the height, okay, Z1, plus H loss, that is the entrance loss, and the friction loss, HF, okay, HF and HI. Okay, now this is a loss. So PA by rho g, it is a free to atmosphere. So if you take the reference as atmospheric pressure, let us take it as a 0. Okay, velocity is also 0 for this case. Okay, so PA by rho g is 0, VA square by 2g is 0, and ZA is the you can say free surface. Okay, so if you consider this as a reference, so ZA will be 0. Okay, so let us see in this case. Okay, after substituting the above values, okay, PA by rho g, it is not taken 0 for reference. Let us take it as atmospheric pressure, PA by rho g plus velocity is 0 plus the datum head as a 0 for reference level, plus is equal to, now the pressure at point C is P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g, that is VA square by 2g plus HS plus HFS. Okay, HS is nothing but the height. Okay, this height, datum height, HS, Z1, okay, Z1 is HS, plus H loss only friction loss they have taken into consideration, the entrance loss is not taken into consideration. Okay, let it be, let us take this as only friction loss. So if you simplify it, PA by rho g is equal to P1 by rho g plus VA square by 2g plus HS plus HFS. So P1 by rho g, okay, this is the pressure, okay, at point C, okay, that is the inlet of the impeller. Okay, P1 by rho g will be equal to, if you rearrange this, it will become PA by rho g minus this term inside the bracket. So what this indicates? It indicates that P1 by rho g is less than PA by rho g by this amount. That means P1 by rho g is less than the atmospheric pressure, and if it is less than atmospheric pressure, it is clear indication that it is a vacuum pressure. So at the inlet of the impeller, the pressure is vacuum. So for finding the maximum suction lift, the pressure at the inlet of the pump should not be less than the vapor pressure of the liquid that we have seen. So the minimum, the condition is that the pressure that is the inlet pressure should not fall below the vapor pressure. So the limiting condition is P1 will be equal to PV, that is the vapor pressure. That is so let us replace P1 by PV and find the maximum suction lift, that is HS. HS is the suction height or suction head that we want to find. So if we were put P1 as PV, so PV by rho g is equal to PA by rho g minus this head, that is the term. So you can write HS. Okay, HS is your aim to find is HS. So PA by rho g is equal to PV by rho g plus VA square by 2g plus HS plus HFS. So if you take HS to the left hand side, it will become HS is equal to PA by rho g minus PV by rho g minus VA square by 2g minus HFS. And this is the maximum suction lift. HA is nothing but PA by rho g and HV is nothing but PV by rho g. So this is the maximum suction lift. So this equation gives you the maximum suction lift. Above this height you can't go. If you go beyond this height, then there will be the phenomenon of cavitation. That will surely happen. Okay, so hence the suction height of any pump should not be more than that given by this equation. This is HV, which is PV by rho g. Okay, actually it was P1 by rho g. Okay, but it is replaced by PV by rho g for maximum suction lift condition. But actual value is P1 by rho g, which is greater than this PV by rho g. Okay, so the pressure at that point should be greater than vapor pressure. So this is the limiting condition. Now it is not the case that we will go for the limiting condition, that maximum suction lift. Okay, so the pump is always installed well below this maximum suction lift for avoiding cavitation. So if you increase the height of pump, okay, then the cavitation is surely going to happen. So we are placing that pump well below the maximum lift, and that difference, okay, between that maximum and the actual value, that is called as a net positive suction head. So next term is net positive suction head. The expression obtained above is for maximum suction lift, but in actual practice the pump is kept well below the maximum suction lift. That is, the actual height of pump installation is less than the maximum suction lift to avoid cavitation. Hence in the limiting case it was P1 was equal to PV, but actually P1 is greater than PV to avoid cavitation. Okay, to avoid cavitation our pressure should be greater than the vapor pressure, and hence the difference between P1 minus PV, that is P1 minus PV by rho g, is known as NPSH. So NPSH is nothing but net positive suction head, which is always positive because PV by rho g is the minimum condition and P1 is always greater than PV to avoid cavitation, hence its value is always positive. So P1 minus PV by rho g is also given by H1 minus HV. H1 minus HV, because H1 is P1 by rho g and HV is PV by rho g, where P1 is the inlet pressure at impeller, which is well above the vapor pressure, and PV is the vapor pressure of water, which we have seen as a 2.5 meter of absolute. Okay, so if you see in this diagram also, this is NPSH. Okay, this is the suction side, this is maximum suction lift, or you can say actual suction lift. Okay, and this is a pump. Okay, this is the negative pressure here. So NPSH is nothing but P1 by rho g, whatever is the pressure, negative pressure, minus PV by rho g. PV by rho g is again less than P1 by rho g, which is the vapor pressure of water. So P1 minus PV by rho g is nothing but your NPSH. Okay, that is always greater than 0. So you know what is P1 by rho g in terms of PA by rho g minus V1 square by 2g minus HS minus HF. If you put the value of P1 by rho g in terms of atmospheric pressure, then you will get NPSH is equal to P1, you put this value, okay, and you will get NPSH is equal to PA by rho g minus V1 square by 2g minus HS minus HF minus PV by rho g. But basically, to understand the concept, you only remember that the actual pressure inside the pump is always greater than the vapor pressure, and whatever is the difference between these two, that is the actual pressure and the vapor pressure, that difference is called as the NPSH. Okay, so you remember the NPSH formula, okay, very clearly. Now there are two NPSH in industry. There are two NPSH required. NPSH calculated. One is called as NPSH required and one is called as NPSH available. What do you mean by NPSH required and what do you mean by NPSH available? Now it's very simple. NPSH required is nothing but this is the NPSH given by the supplier or the manufacturer. When you buy the pump, the NPSH given is the required NPSH. While the NPSH available is nothing but the NPSH which you are testing at your end. So the formula which is this formula, this is NPSH available, and if this NPSH available is greater than the NPSH required, then you can test that your pump is or it is okay. Next we'll see in detail in next lecture.